Good morning, friends. My name is CA Rahul Rungta, and it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the second season of our full-day conference, Startup to Capital Market Wealth Multiplier. Last year, we had a great day on 27th of November, if my memory serves me right. So today, hopefully, you will also have another great day. And we have put together a galaxy of speakers from various parts of the country and who cover various aspects of capital market as well as startup, various aspects of startup as well. So hopefully you will pick up a thing or two today and you'll go home as happy attendees of the conference. So I look forward to all of you having a great day today. I also welcome all the guest speakers and our celebrity speakers as well, those who are not here. I also welcome them on behalf of the association. So let's start without wasting any further time. Let's start our first session. I would request the President, CA Rajesh Jalan, and the Program Chairman and Vice President of the Association, CA Vivek Banka, and Secretary, CA Niraj Agrawal, to escort the guest speaker, Mr. Dilraj Vilkhu, on the dais. And I also request you guys to please take your respective seats. Thank you. May I request the House to please stand up for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you. I request the House to remain standing for ICAI's motto.
येष सुप्तेषु जागृति येष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 कामंशो पुरुषो निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः श्रितः सर्वे तदूनात्यपि कश्चन एतद्वैता 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 एतद्वैता
Thank you. Friends, as you can understand from the topic, every one of us is excited about the concept of startup. We want to know more about startup. And of course, the end game of every startup is to get themselves listed on capital market. So that is what it is, today's session about startup to capital market. Now to introduce the session, I request our President CA Rajesh Jalanji to please come forward and give his welcome address. President sir, your welcome address.
Thank you, Rahul. Respected London speaker for today's seminar, members of the Central and Regional Council of ICI, past president of the association, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure this morning as president of VIPCA Association to welcome you all to today's seminar on Startup to Capital Market Wealth Multiplier Season 2. The two important areas that are on the top of our minds as a finance professional today. I take this opportunity to give you quick insight into our beloved association. I am happy to share that our association has completed 25th year of existence and celebrating silver jubilee years. We have more than 950 chartered accountants as a member. We organize various conferences, workshops, seminars, group discussions, monthly e-zine, quarterly newsletter on regular basis to enrich the professional competence of our members. To guide the coming generation, we also have a fully equipped library for CA student. Beyond in the professional sphere, Vilkhu also endeavors to build strong bonds between members through social functions, culture program, and other fellowship activity. We can proudly say that CA Agrawal, the past president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, was one of the founder members of our association and also past president of our association. About the seminar today, in the first session, our learned speaker shall share with us insight on the startup drivers and emerging trend, journey of unicorn India, the preferred startup destination. They shall also discuss the various government initiatives to facilitate the growth of startup ecosystem. In the second session, post-lunch, our expert from the capital market shall take us through the navigating the capital market, looking at the horizon vision 2025 and 2030 and much more. I am sure that all of us after the seminar shall leave with lot of new idea for startup and investment in capital markets. We have received an overwhelming response to this seminar, and I sincerely thank the delegate for being part of today's journey of knowledge and new idea. I am sure that all our participants will benefit tremendously from today's seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Before we proceed forward, may I request the House to please put your phone on either silent mode or switch it off. May I also request all the organizers to have all those who are standing outside to please bring them inside. The session is about to start. Now I request the brains and the man who has put in all the effort in organizing this program, the chairman of the session, CA Vivek Banka, to please introduce the theme of the seminar.
Thank you, Rahul. Dear friends, good morning, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure this morning to welcome you to today's seminar on Startup to Capital Market Wealth Multiplier Season 2. The two important domains that are on the top of our mind as finance professionals today. Nifty is all-time high, number of unicorn in India and the investment therein are also all-time high. The seminar is all about the myth, the reality, the ups, the downs, the deceptives, but a promising world of startup and capital market. Nowadays, the startup ecosystem is a gold mine for investment opportunity. In our first session today, our learned speaker shall share with us insight on the Indian startup drivers and emerging opportunity, India the preferred destination, and the journey of unicorn. In the second session, post-lunch, our expert on capital market shall share their secrets to wealth creation in the near future as well as the distant futures, how the investment horizons looks like, and much more. The topic for the session have accordingly been framed like navigating the landscape of capital market, investigating for wealth creations. I am sure that all of us after this seminar shall leave with a lot of new ideas for startup and investment in capital market. We have received an overwhelming response to this seminar, and I sincerely thank the delegates for being part of today's journey of knowledge and new ideas. Happy learning and happy earning. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. We especially like the part happy earning. Friends, जनरली जब हम सितारों की बात करते हैं तो हमें मूवी, सिनेमा और नेता याद आते हैं, लेकिन कुछ सितारे ऐसे हैं जो दूर से चमकते हैं, शायद उनकी प्रकाश हम तक पहुंचती नहीं है और कभी कभार इन मौक़ों पर पहुंचती है. ऐसे ही एक सितारे आज हमारे बीच हैं, मिस्टर दिलराज विल्खू. Today, when you are going to listen to his deliberation, you will realize the wealth of knowledge that he has with him. And it gives me immense pleasure, sir, to first introduce you to the house. I will read out a small profile. His profile should also be displayed. Yeah. So his profile is also displayed. Can you zoom in a little? Yeah. I'll read out the profile. So Mr. Dilraj Singh Vilkhu is the AVP Client Funds at HDFC AMC and has over 18 years of work experience. His primary role includes conceptualizing new products and initiatives, fundraising, and maintaining distributor relationships. Basically, finance engineering karte hai, sir, coming up with new products. Mr. Dilraj joined HDFC AMC in July 2004 and has worked across multiple roles and locations. And for us to be very proud of, he's also part of the fraternity. He's also a qualified chartered accountant. Sir, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you. I request the house to put their hands together and welcome, sir. May I request our past president, CA R.N. Tapadia ji, to please welcome the speaker by offering a flower bouquet. Before I hand over the mic to sir, some of us may be wondering why is an HDFC AMC AVP addressing us in a startup session. That's because he's the fund of funds. So he funds all the VCs who in turn fund startups. So in his day-to-day activity, he comes across various proposals and projections which are prepared by startups which are requesting funds from these VCs. So this is first approved by him and his team, and then it goes to the VCs for their approval. So sir, welcome you again. And please sir, I request you to start your deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for this opportunity. And I have come to Calcutta for the first time. And let me tell you, as an outsider, it's a beautiful city. It's just been 3 days. And it's a lovely feeling to be here, meeting people, the food culture. And this is one city which still, maintains its social fabric, the character, the culture, the legacy. It continues. So it feels good to be here. मैं कलकत्ते आ रहा था, उससे आने से पहले मैंने 3 कैलकाटा वालों से बात की कि मैं आपके शहर जा रहा हूँ. तो मेरे को तीनों ने कहाँ जाना है 3 दिन कि बॉस आप यहाँ जाके पेस्ट्री खाइए, यहाँ पे गुड़ वाला चाय पीजिए, आप क्या कहते हैं रोल ज़रूर खाइएगा. तो आई फाइंड दिस सिटी हैज़ अ लॉट ऑफ फूडी कल्चर एंड आई वाज़न्ट डिसअपॉइंटेड. आई कुड एक्सप्लोर फ्यू ऑप्शंस एंड इट्स बिन अ ग्रेट फीलिंग. कमिंग टू टुडेज टॉपिक, देखिए एवरी बिजनेस, एवरी एंटिटी जो आज हम लिस्टेड स्पेस में देखते हैं, इट वाज अ स्टार्टअप एट सम पॉइंट इन टाइम. सो एवरी आइडिया स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम लेट्स से एन आइडिएशन एंड डिपेंडिंग फाउंडर या प्रमोटर का विजन क्या है, इट कैन गो अप टू लिस्टिंग और सम बिजनेसेस जस्ट डोंट लिस्ट. In case you take an example of Parle Ji, Parle Ji is one of the largest biscuits producer in the world, but Parle Ji is unlisted in a private business. But वो business भी कहीं से start हुआ था, उन्होंने सेल्फ फंड करके बिजनेस को ये स्केल पे लेके आए. एंड अभी हमको ऐसा लगता है वी हैव अबाउट 60 लाख इन्वेस्टर्स, म्यूचुअल फंड इन्वेस्टर्स इन HDFC म्यूचुअल फंड. टोटल अगर ब्रॉडर नंबर्स देखते हैं, इंडिया में करीब 100 करोड़ बैंक अकाउंट्स हैं. पैन अकाउंट होल्डर करीब 50 करोड़ पैन अकाउंट होल्डर्स हैं. डीमैट अकाउंट करीब 8-9 करोड़ हो गए और म्यूचुअल फंड इन्वेस्टर्स सिर्फ 3.5 करोड़ है. And so far as the startup or the unlisted space or pre-listing space is concerned, सिर्फ 20,000 ऐसे investors हैं जिन्होंने ये market में participate किया है. तो वी बीन आइडिएटिंग विद अ आइडिया कि हमें कुछ अनलिस्टेड स्पेस या स्टार्टअप फंडिंग स्पेस में करना चाहिए. हमें कंपनीज जो एकदम अर्ली स्टेज में अगर हम इन्वेस्ट करें तो रिटर्न्स कैन बी फार बेटर. अभी एक कंपनी रिसेंटली लिस्ट हुई है, बीकाजी फूड्स. दिस इज अ कंपनी दैट कम्स टू माइंड and it is a company which is close to our hearts. We've grown up on the brand, whether it is Haldiram or Bikaji. तो एक लाइट हाउस एडवाइजर्स करके फंड है, वो 2014 में बीकाजी फूड्स में उन्होंने इक्विटी ली, करीब 9% इक्विटी ली. बीकाजी फूड्स का टर्नओवर एट 2014 वाज जस्ट अबाउट 200 crores. सो फैमिली सेड ओके चलो प्राइवेट इक्विटी लेते हैं थोड़ी, दे विल गेट एन प्रोफेशनल मैनेजमेंट, स्ट्रैटेजी करेंगे, गवर्नेंस करेंगे, क्योंकि वी हैव प्लान्स, वी वांट टू गो एंड डू लिस्टिंग ऑफ द कंपनी. तो आई एम जस्ट टेकिंग एन एग्जांपल कि प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंडिंग लेना एक चीज़ है, बट जो फंडिंग लेके आ रहा है वो क्या देख रहा है. एक तो फॉर अ प्रमोटर वो वैल्यू क्रिएट कर रहा है, फॉर एन इन्वेस्टर रिटर्न क्रिएट कर रहा है. तो इन केस वी वर इन 80s, 90s और 2000, 3 फैक्टर्स ऑफ प्रोडक्शन, लैंड, लेबर एंड कैपिटल. इसमें से लैंड और लेबर इंडिया में कभी प्रॉब्लम नहीं था, कैपिटल की स्कैरसिटी थी. बट अभी कैपिटल की भी कोई स्कैरसिटी नहीं है. ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट रिस्की कैपिटल तो बहुत अवेलेबल है. तो पीपल वुड वांट टू पुट मनी टू स्टार्टअप्स. अगर कोई फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली में कोई वेंचर स्टार्ट कर रहा है, अभी इतना हिस्ट्री बन चुका है ओवर लास्ट 10 years कि पीपल आर लुकिंग फॉर अनलिस्टेड बेट्स. पब्लिक के पास रिस्की कैपिटल है, वेंचर स्पेस में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहता है. And ideas could be anything. There is another company in Bangalore, ID Fresh करके, वो सिर्फ इडली का मिक्स बनाते थे. और एक फायर साइड करके फंड है, उन्होंने वो कंपनी को फंड किया, पूरा मार्केटिंग स्ट्रैटेजी डिवाइस किया, एंड ID Fresh इज़ अ यूनिकॉर्न नाउ. तो राइट फ्रॉम लेट्स से सीड स्टेज, जब कंपनी का वैल्यू होता है 20 crore, अगर उसमें कोई वेंचर कैपिटल आता है, उससे पहले कोई एंजल्स आते हैं, सीड स्टेज पे इन्वेस्टमेंट होता है, उसके बाद जो वैल्यू ऐड करके अगर आपके बिजनेस में आइडिया है, इट्स अ इनोवेटिव आइडिया, इट्स डिस्टरप्टिंग समथिंग, एंड in terms of execution, it is challenging the let's say incumbents. तो you would see कि the idea can unlock a lot of value. बहुत सारा गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट भी मिल रहा है स्टार्टअप्स को. 2016 में स्टार्टअप इंडिया स्कीम गॉट लॉन्च. तो it is not capital is scarce, but what is lacking is there are lot many ideas, and we will take you through overall numbers. See, in case we look at numbers, we'll get a better picture on the entire ecosystem. So let's say, how do Indian so let's see the startup ecosystem or the private market ecosystem in numbers. So in India, over last 10 years, about 57,000 startups have got set up. Out of these 57 startups, only about 50, let's say 5,050 startups have got funded. So only 10% of the ideas are getting funded. तो जो ideas fund हुए हैं, उनको फंडिंग क्यों मिली, या व्हाट वाज सो डिफरेंट कि बस 45,000 स्टार्टअप्स को फंडिंग नहीं मिल पाए. द आइडिया इज, जो भी इन्वेस्टर्स आ रहे हैं, एंजल्स आ रहे हैं, या सीड स्टेज पे आपको कोई फंड कर रहा है, तो दे लुक द क्वालिटी ऑफ द फाउंडर, द स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ द बिजनेस, उसकी स्केलेबिलिटी क्या है, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम द फाउंडर इज ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व, क्या टारगेट कर रहा है, टारगेट एड्रेसेबल मार्केट क्या है, लॉन्ग टर्म वैल्यू क्या है बिजनेस में, शेयर होल्डर्स या इन्वेस्टर्स कितना पैसा बना पाएंगे. एंड सर, इन टर्म्स ऑफ ब्रॉडर नंबर्स अगर आप देखें, तो अगर आप देखें लिस्टेड एक्विटीज़ जो है, इंडिया की मार्केट कैप इज़ अबाउट 3 trillion, क्लोज टू 3 trillion, एंड द प्राइवेट मार्केट्स आर अबाउट 450 billion. इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज, ये स्टार्टअप इकोसिस्टम और प्राइवेट इक्विटी इकोसिस्टम इज़ ऑलमोस्ट 15% ऑफ द लिस्टेड इकोसिस्टम इन टर्म्स ऑफ वैल्यूएशन. तो ये जो साइड है इन्वेस्टमेंट्स का, इट इज़ गेनिंग प्रोमिनेंस, इट इज़ गेनिंग ट्रैक्शन, एंड वी थिंक अगर इन्वेस्टर्स को अपॉर्चुनिटी दी जाए, there are about 15,000-20,000 investors who are looking to enter this market. And what has changed, this is the transformation. Startup ecosystem को fuel कर रहा है आधार, startup ecosystem को fuel कर रहे हैं smartphones, UPI platform. तो अगर in case 10 years ago somebody said कि boss you make online payments, today online payments have become a way of life. Today doorstep delivery has become a way of life. So in case you have a good idea, you are building for a product, आपको सारा IT framework आप in-house build कर सकते हैं. You need not be present pan-India. And just on a mobile phone, you have 60 crore people. That is the size of the market which is available for consumer brands. So you could be doing something on consumer brands. आप कुछ खाने पीने का बना रहे होंगे, कपड़े बना रहे होंगे. Every consumer good is getting sold online now. Or you could be building for tech solution. Startup में बहुत सारे engineering graduates हैं which build softwares. They don't only build softwares for Indian companies or Indian problems. They are building companies of global scale now. तो उनका acquisition भी हो जाता है बड़ी company के साथ. And some of the companies can take their journey to listing. So the size of the opportunity is good and universe is very wide. It is only the quality idea, people who are clear about their vision, business plan, they are the ones who can get funded. We looked at this space as investors. हमको लगता है कि हमारी जो capabilities हैं वो listed market equity investing को ज़्यादा suit करती है. We have a 22-year track record investing into listed markets. But we think for our investors, we need to bring more and more offerings. So we thought, why not look at right from companies which are, let's say, at the seed stage, till companies which are available at pre-IPO. But जिस तरह से ये deal source होती हैं, जिस तरह से ये companies में value add होता है, we think we are still yet not there in terms of our capabilities to get ourselves the full value unlocking. So we thought, let's scan the entire ecosystem of PE and VC space in the country. देखिए, the investment trends in terms of value of investment, this space has grown almost 5 times between 2016 to 2021. So in case in 2016, amount of funding was about $16 billion. The last year, the amount of funding which has gone into this ecosystem is about $77 billion. So more and more investment is going in. जैसा सर शेयर बाजार में हुआ, अगर 92 में अपने मार्केट्स ओपन हुए, पहले सबसे बड़ा शेयर होल्डर वॉज प्रमोटर, उसके बाद FIIs, 2000 से 2010 तक म्यूचुअल फंड पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ने लगी. बट डिस्पाइट ऑल दिस, अभी भी क्या कहते हैं, FIIs own almost 19-20% of the Indian market, 45-50% is with the promoters. Retail ownership or household ownership is still less. And numbers are not very big. अगर 50 crore PAN है, तो mutual fund investors are only about 3.5 crores. So we think this is just the beginning. There couldn't be a better time for India. आप देखिए, we have the strongest leadership at this point in time. Policy framework is supportive, and right for companies or the business environment is better than ever before. So it is reflecting in terms of global. और ये भी जो investments आप देख रहे हैं 5 गुना बड़े हैं, these are largely global funds which have come into the country. Yeah, domestic institutional capital has got invested into the startup ecosystem or the private equity space. Let's look at the number of deals. ये तो बड़े-बड़े numbers हो गए कि we've got about billions of dollars which are flowing in. In terms of number of transactions are also going up. आप देखिए स्टार्टअप में कितना पैसा जा रहा है, ग्रोथ कैपिटल कितना है, बायआउट कैपिटल. सो देयर इज अ रिस्क एपेटाइट फॉर डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज. नंबर ऑफ डील्स ऊपर जा रहे हैं, एवरेज टिकट साइज ऑफ द डील इज गोइंग अप. और सेक्टर्स देखिए, पहले ब्रॉडली प्राइवेट इक्विटी 4 सेक्टर्स में जाता था, हेल्थ केयर में जाता था, या कंज्यूमर में जाता था, डिजिटल में जाता था, या फाइनेंस में जाता था. बिकॉज प्राइवेट इक्विटी लार्जली गेट्स इन टू स्पेस विच आर एसेट लाइट बिजनेसेस, which are cash generating businesses, because एक private equity या venture capital आता है, he is also an investor and he wants to get out of an investment in about 4 to 5 years in case it's investing into the mid-size or growth stage of the business. और early stage जो venture funds होते हैं, they invest with a view of 7-8 years into a company. तो अगर 2019 में 7 से 8 सेक्टर्स को फंडिंग मिलती थी, इन 2021-22 करीब 13-14 सेक्टर्स बढ़ गए. तो नंबर ऑफ डील्स ऊपर जा रहे हैं, टोटल कैपिटल ऊपर जा रहा है, एवरेज इन्वेस्टमेंट इज गोइंग अप. एट द सेम टाइम मोर एंड मोर सेक्टर्स आर गेटिंग फंडेड. इंडिया में थोड़ा सा एक इशू था कि ओके स्टार्टअप्स को फंडिंग मिल रही है, प्राइवेट इक्विटी इज गोइंग इन, ये मार्केट में एग्जिट नहीं मिलता है. बट इवन एग्जिट एनवायरनमेंट इज इम्प्रूविंग. देखिए, एग्जिट इज नॉट नेसेसरी. एवरी कंपनी हैज़ टू राइट फ्रॉम सीड स्टेज और स्टार्टअप स्टेज हैज़ टू गो फॉर लिस्टिंग. बहुत सारे क्या कहते हैं, देखिए आप कोई प्रमोटर है, उसने फंडिंग ली, द बिजनेस इज डूइंग वेल, देयर इज ऑलवेज अ चांस सम प्रमोटर्स वुड प्रेफर टू रिमेन प्राइवेट, वो बाय बैक कर लेते हैं इन्वेस्टर्स को. लेट्स से अगर आपने 20 करोड़ अपने बिजनेस को वैल्यू किया था एंड योर बिजनेस हैज स्केल्ड अप, उसमें टर्नओवर आ गया, एम्प्लॉयज़ आ गया, कस्टमर्स आ गए, अब आपकी बिजनेस की अगर वैल्यूएशन होती है 20 करोड़ से 200 करोड़, तो अगर आपके इन्वेस्टमेंट आपने 20% स्टेक पे 4 करोड़ इन्वेस्टमेंट लिया होगा किसी वीसी प्लेयर से, तो आप उसको 40 करोड़ अगर आपने कैश फ्लो जनरेट कर लिया है तो आप उसको बायबैक कर सकते हैं। अगर दूसरा जो रूट ऑफ एग्जिट है वो स्ट्रैटेजिक होता है कि कंपनी गेट्स बायड आउट बाय अ लार्जर प्लेयर इन द बिजनेस। तीसरा जो क्या कहते हैं एग्जिट का रूट होता है सेकेंडरी होता है, एक वेंचर कैपिटल दूसरे वेंचर कैपिटल या प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड को अपना स्टेक बेच देता है, एग्जिट मिल जाती है। और जो मोस्ट पॉपुलर है विच इज़ एवरीबडी वांट्स टू पार्टिसिपेट और जो फ्रेंजी होती है दैट इज़ आईपीओ। So IPO is another route of exit, and we've seen all forms of exits, number of deals, value of exits, they have been trending up. And let's see, सब कुछ अच्छा लगता है, स्टार्टअप में फंडिंग जा रही है, प्राइवेट इक्विटी में फंडिंग जा रही है। फ्रॉम एन इन्वेस्टर्स पर्सपेक्टिव वी हैव मैप्ड, हमने एक्सरसाइज क्रिसल से कराई, 2016 से सेबी ने मैंडेट किया जितने वेंचर कैपिटल या प्राइवेट इक्विटी फंड्स हैं उनको अपना रिटर्न परफॉर्मेंस पब्लिश करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज द डेटा इज नॉट अवेलेबल इन पब्लिक डोमेन। तो जस्ट टू टेक एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ रिटर्न्स मेड इन द वेंचर कैपिटल स्पेस, द टेबल ऑन द लेफ्ट टॉप राइट अगर आप देखते हैं, there were about 18 schemes of VC funds which got launched in 2016. तो उनके returns are showing a IRR of 36%. 2017 में जो schemes launch हुई 35%. Broadly, VC funds have targeted returns in excess of 30%. And all investors, why just angels, which are limited number of people, or people who come in at the seed stage, institutions, even HNIs and domestic investors can now participate in this ecosystem from a fund platform. And that is the problem that we are trying to solve, and we see a big market for it. On the right hand side, the table on the top that you see is private equity businesses. These are businesses which are slightly growth stage or mid-market businesses. And why do businesses take capital from private equity? There could be various factors. There could be reasons of succession. एक generation ने काम कर लिया, there is no generation, next generation to take care of the business. There could be capital required for scalability. Or in case it's an unlisted business, the promoter would look for listing his company. That's why they bring in the private equity player, do the housekeeping in place, get the books in order, do branding, increase your decibel in the ecosystem, and you can do listing. So these are the funds. See, हम लोग के पास capabilities नहीं है to evaluate a startup because startup के numbers बहुत large हैं, हमारी bandwidth कम है. तो to get access to this ecosystem, these are the funds that we have targeted. And each business in the startup stage or let's say the venture capital space has a certain stage of the business. अगर आप देखेंगे startup capital जो maximum मिलती है वो प्री प्रोडक्ट, प्री रेवेन्यू और सीड या एंजल स्टेज पे मिलती है. तो दीज आर फंड्स विच टारगेट दीज कैटेगरी ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट्स. फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट स्टेज ऑफ द बिजनेस इज प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट मिलता है, वहाँ पे देर आर नेक्स्ट काइंड ऑफ फंड्स विच कम इन. थर्ड स्टेज जो होता है प्रोडक्ट मार्केट फिट या यूनिट इकोनॉमिक्स, दैट इज स्लाइटली बिजनेस इज गेनिंग ट्रैक्शन, इट नीड्स ग्रोथ कैपिटल. So we've seen the whole process, how do these funds kind of identify deals, sourcing क्या methodology है, what is the value add methodology, scalability क्या है, उसके बाद exit mechanism क्या है. That is the most crucial thing when we look at in evaluation of a fund. And this is one medium which is a diversified approach to gaining access to this category. And there are returns, or this can be looked upon as a diversification strategy. Coming back to all of this looks good from an investor's perspective. Startup जो है, they can approach these funds, they can approach accelerators, they can approach incubators. And जो startup में funding मिल रही है सर, right at the campus level मिल रही है. There are funds which are, let's say IITs हैं, IIMs हैं, ये top let's say pedigree in terms of talent है. But regional engineering colleges है, regional MBA colleges है, या normal finance के colleges है, जहाँ पे BCom होता है या other arts degrees होती है, ventures can come from there also. So there are funds which are trying to back ideas at the campus level. उन्होंने scouts appoint किए हुए हैं अपने college के campus में, they would give a capital of 2-3 lakhs backing an idea. So that is the level of let's say funding which startups are attracting. So far as let's say professional opportunities are concerned, where do we as professionals, as CAs fit in? all of these startups or let's say founders are very good with technology or their own business idea, या वो क्या solve करना चाह रहा है. But so far as compliance is concerned, so far as setting up the business is concerned, yeah, regulatory jitne guidelines hai, they don't understand. So professionals like CAs can plug in, set up their companies, unke compliance can be taken over, valuation can be taken over, they can help these startups raise funds, and it is a journey and right till up to the IPO and till the businesses are built to last. So this is what I had to share with you guys on the startup ecosystem, the funders, the investors, the kind of investment which has gone into this space. I'm happy to take questions from here. I'm okay.
So if anyone of us has any questions, please feel free to ask sir, and he'll be happy to answer. Any questions from the audience?
Sir, may I ask the first question?
Yeah.
So you mentioned about the little participation in this venture funds compared to we are looking at the broader capital markets. So we are professionals here basically who are in audience. How do we participate in this investment aspects in these sort of venture capital funds, or maybe in terms of these startups which are looking for these risky funds?
See, broadly, the hub for startup ecosystem in India is Bangalore and maybe Mumbai. But so far as, and see, they need professional help. There would be a lot of founders, they would be based in Bangalore or Bombay, but they could hail from your hometown. So it is the network that we have to develop, you know. We need to market ourselves in the professional circle or with these venture capital funds. Reach out to these guys, and there are a lot of professional value adds that can be done. And this is on the professional services side. But so far as investments are concerned, you can invest being part of the VC fund और छोटे-छोटे भी investments होते हैं. It is not कि हर VC fund में आपको करोड़ रुपए लगाना है. There are accelerators, there are platforms जहाँ पे you can make a VC investment just by investing 1 lakh. But we've seen one trend, sir. जो भी founder होता है जिसको capital चाहिए, in case I'm a founder, I have an idea. My attempt would be I go to the best global largest player in the business who have invested in maximum ideas in the startup ecosystem, because they have the playbook in place. They've seen, they have data pattern recognition capabilities in terms of which ventures can do well or there is a failure rate. So it all starts, it's a grid, and it depends upon the capital that one wants to invest.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Please.
May I request the participants to please introduce themselves? So please
Myself, good morning, sir. Myself, Rajesh, a chartered accountant. My simple question, very layman question. You're talking about that seed stage and all. We are living in a city of Calcutta, not Bangalore. There might be advertisements for those seed stage. How to know that this is the seed stage and this is the company, like you talked about in 2014, Bikaji started. There were certain investments, somebody invested around 9% and all. Now that investment has become many-fold. How, as a professional in Calcutta, chartered accountants, and what are the platforms, what are the sources, so that, so say I have got say 1 rupee and I want to invest, and maybe my assessment, as per, of course, on the basis of my assessment, I will invest. So what is the source here in Calcutta or any other platform that this is the good company and we can invest in the seed capital?
Sir, there are various platforms which keep showing transaction to investors. So you get term sheet of the investee companies. You can look at the finance. You can look at the financial soundness of the business. So there are various platforms which send transactions. कलकत्ता में म्यूचुअल फंड मिलता है सर, शेयर बाजार का काम होता है. In case all of that access you have. So far as the unlisted space is concerned, especially in the startup ecosystem, we think the best approach to follow is the fund route, sir. तो आप फंड में इन्वेस्ट कर दीजिए, दे विल evaluate and kind of invest into startup. So far as let's say taxation पे कोई issue होगा, accountancy पे issue होगा, I will seek your wisdom. So likewise for us, we seek wisdom of these venture capital or private equity managers in terms of navigating this space. Because sir, ये space बहुत बड़ा है. In case you look at the listed space, there are only 1,700 companies which are listed in NSE. When you look at the number of startups, there are about 50-60,000 startups which are registered. Within that, only 10% have got funded, which held merit in terms of, let's say, making returns. Within those 5,000-6,000 companies, let's kind of back the right managers who have a history, track record, जो scale पे पैसा manage कर रहे हैं, and are people of pedigree. I would suggest that is one way to do it, and there is nothing that stops you from investing directly, sir. आप 1 लाख रुपए भी डाल सकते हैं, 5 लाख रुपए डाल सकते हैं. It is that small an investment you can make. And why look for opportunities outside, sir? Within Calcutta, in case you find you've seen kids growing up, they've done engineering, and see, when I finished my CA, sir, I was just telling before the discussion, I became a CA not because I come from a CA family, I knew anything about CA. I grew up with Marwadi kids, तो वहाँ पे CA culture था. And I saw कि बहुत से multiple चीज़ें करते हैं, practice भी करते हैं, finance भी करते हैं, कोयले का भी काम होता है, metal भी कर रहे हैं, तो CA भी कर रहे हैं, money lending भी कर रहे हैं, clients के return file हो रहे हैं, उनको भी क्या कहते हैं, funding हो रही है. And without naming people, there was one very dear friend of mine. It's an interesting story and how I jumped into it. So he told me, let's go home. तो मैंने कहा अभी स्कूल है, अभी लंच टाइम है, तो घर कैसे चले जाएं? ये तो मेरी गाड़ी बाहर ही खड़ी होती है, मेरा ड्राइवर सुबह मेरे को छोड़ता है और शाम को घर लेके जाता है. तो आई वॉज लिटिल फैसिनेटेड. मैं तो साइकिल पे स्कूल आता था, तो आई वॉज मोर वरीड मेरी साइकिल का क्या होगा. तो कहते साइकिल की चिंता मत कर, हम लंच टाइम में वापस आ जाएंगे. आई सेड ओके. तो फिर हम लोग गए, 10 मिनट में घर पहुंच गए. तो मैंने उससे कहा ये गार्डन में कहाँ घुमाने ले जा रहे? कहता मेरा घर है, तू चल तो सही. तो उनका घर गार्डन के बीच में था. तो मैंने कहा मेरे घर में गार्डन है, तेरा घर गार्डन में है. तो फिर हम अंदर गए. सर आई कम फ्रॉम अ मिडिल क्लास हम्बल बैकग्राउंड. तो अगर नागपुर इज़ अ वेरी हॉट सिटी, तो वहाँ पे डेजर्ट कूलर्स होते थे. तो आई ग्रू अप इन अ कल्चर, अगर हवा ठंडी आ रही है तो कहीं कूलर चल रहा होगा. तो इनका घर पूरा ठंडा था. तो मैंने कहा कूलर कहाँ है? कहता कूलर नहीं होता, वो ऊपर सेंट्रली एयर कंडीशन से हवा आ रही है. आई सेड ओके लवली. देन ही सेड चल आए हैं, तो माय फादर हैज जस्ट कॉल्ड मी, कुछ फॉर्म साइन करने के लिए ऑफिस बुला रहे हैं. तो मेरे को अपने गार्डन से पीछे ऑफिस ले गया. उनका ऑफिस भी पीछे ही था. तो ऑफिस वॉज वेरी गुड, सब शांति से काम कर रहे थे, मुड्डी नीचे करके. मेट हिज फादर एंड देन वी केम बैक. तो ऐसे यार सब कुछ अच्छा लगा, समझ आ गया, स्कूल आ गए. तेरे फादर करते क्या है? तो कहते वो CA हैं. मैंने कहा वो क्या होता है? तो कहते चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट नहीं मालूम तेरे को? मैंने कहा इसीलिए पूछ रहा हूँ, नहीं मालूम. तो दैट्स व्हेन आई डिसाइडेड कि मेरे को CA बनना है. बट माई फादर कम्स फ्रॉम अ सेल्स बैकग्राउंड. सो मेरा अभी CA फाइनल का रिजल्ट आया नहीं था. आई वॉज लेट्स से बाय गॉड्स ग्रेस, पेरेंट्स ब्लेसिंग्स, आई वॉज गुड एट एकेडमिक्स. सो आई वॉज इन मेरिट लेट्स से इन 12th स्टैंडर्ड. I got through, I could clear my CA smoothly, so academics were never a problem. But my results were awaited, and my parents used to invest in HDFC mutual fund. तो मैं उनकी SIP के applications लेके submit करने जाता था ऑफिस पे. तो वहाँ पे मेरा interaction होता था. And another gentleman, he's a speaker in the second session, मंत्री जी हैं. He's the man who is responsible for, if you see me here, it's his blessings. तो आई वेंट टू HDFC's ऑफिस एंड दे वर टेकिंग इंटरव्यूज़. तो आई सेड ये क्या हो रहा है? तो कहता है कि वी आर जस्ट हायरिंग पीपल, सेल्स के लिए हमको लोग चाहिए. एंड आई जस्ट नीडेड अ जॉब सर. जैसे थोड़े बहुत लिमिटेड अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ पीछे के सिटीज़ में, नागपुर और लिमिटेड है. तो आई कुडंट हैव सेट अप माई ओन प्रैक्टिस. आई वांटेड अ जॉब. आई स्टार्टेड इन 2000 फ्रॉम HDFC in Nagpur, and I've just grown within the system. So cutting a long story short, I think there are enough and more opportunities. आप सर अगर इन्वेस्ट करना चाहेंगे, अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आपके पास पहुंच जाएगी. एंड देन इट इज़ योर बेस्ट जजमेंट हाउ मच यू वांट टू इन्वेस्ट, व्हाट आर यू सीइंग इन दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी. बट इन आवर हम्बल ओपिनियन, द बेस्ट वे टू डू इट इज़ लीव इट टू अ प्रोफेशनल, लेट हिम मैनेज इट, दे विल गेट यू रिटर्न्स एंड एग्जिट. सर थैंक यू सर.
Very inspiring story. Yeah, please, Mike. Dada? So please introduce yourself
Yeah,
before asking.
myself Sudeep, currently working in Bangalore, but right now I'm in my hometown. So there are certain platforms they are offering, various seed funding and all. So how authentic they are, and what is the prospect? So suppose I want to invest, but I don't have the accessibility of those details or financials or how the promoter is going, or I cannot go and meet maybe those people. So in those scenarios, what are how we can access those details basically from the platform?
See, private market data is not so easily available. These are all paid databases where you can get financials and progress of the private market entities. Secondly, on the authenticity, I wouldn't comment for a simple reason. There are good platforms, there are not so good platforms. And instead of taking direct exposure, I think look at the history. How many investments a certain platform has got success in. See, why are you coming in? You have a listed space which is available to you. And the biggest difference in participating in the private markets and listed spaces, listed space, you are only investing as a financial investor. There is no involvement of yours in the company. Whether you buy a Reliance share or let's say an ACC share, you're just a financial investor. In the private market ecosystem, whether it is private equity or even a startup where a venture capital is coming in, they are active investors, sir. They are investors alongside a promoter. They add a strategy, they add governance, they add people. They would help scale them up, and they will get them higher follow-on investments in case additional capital is required. So in case you think you come from a tech background and you understand technology, whether somebody is doing a deep tech or somebody is building a SaaS solution or enterprise tech, now there is agri-tech. I was just speaking to Vipul before the session. There are now reg techs which have come in, which is regulatory tech. So there are platforms which will just guide you on the legal aspects online. So depending, sir, what is your understanding, you can kind of evaluate options.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Here, Ritesh Rathi, Chartered Accountant. Just want to question that you have told us that we can invest our money in these funds through fund. So how can we get those funds, and how we can check which fund is better? Like in listed funds, we can check there are many criterias. So how we can evaluate and get those?
You can write to these funds. There is no common public database where their performance is available. So I showed you a list of funds. I'll give it to you if you want, and you can just write to them seeking their performance and track record. Then see, they are fundraising. They need as much funds as possible. So they share all their past track record deck, and investors are free to invest in them. So only thing is the ticket size of investment there is higher. They take a minimum of 1 crore, which is collected over a period of 5 years in drawdowns. So the ticket size is higher, but access is available, sir. Access is not an issue, but there is no public database since these are all private investments. Okay, you can go and assess performance online. So you need to reach out to these funds independently.
Thank you.
So if you don't mind, maybe you give us some names of funds, if you don't mind.
We'll give it to you. I'll give you the list you can share with members.
Perfect, sir.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No.
Sir, you mentioned about the RegTech.
Yeah.
Fancy name. Can you elaborate on what sort of regulations are there?
There's a RegTech called recently set up. It's called Resolute. These are all ex-KPMG partners. So they thought, abhi kya kehte, let's say partnership is getting scattered. Let's form a startup. It is a startup. They don't need funding. It's all, there's no capex required. And these are all senior partners who made money in life. So they've set up a company called Resolute. So look up on it. They are advising on various aspects. So whether it is FEMA, taxation, GST. So they have partners for each line of business, and everything is happening online, sir.
So this is again a professional opportunity.
Absolutely.
Sounds like right up our alley.
Yeah.
Cool. Any further questions? No? Okay. Sir, I have my questions, some of my own questions that I'll share with you. But before I do that, please give me an opportunity to recognize the presence of our regional council members. our past president, our very own CA Vishnu Kumar Tulsian, CA Sanjeev Sanghi, and Vice Chairman CA Debayan Patra. May I request the House to put their hands together, welcoming our council members. Sir, basically the topic of your deliberation was startup drivers and emerging trends. So I've got a couple of questions for the audience, and sir, hopefully I'll be able to weave my question around them. So can anyone tell me a question for the House? Which was the first unicorn based out of India? The speakers can also participate if they know the answer. The first unicorn. InfoEdge, okay. So I have one answer, InfoEdge, first unicorn based out of India. Okay, so the first one actually was InMobi, which became a unicorn back in 2011. So sir, from 2011, when we had our first unicorn, to now where we have hit a century of unicorns. So what has changed in terms of these drivers of economy and this startup?
See, what has changed is, first of all, there is a lot of regulatory or the government support which is there. Government has been since 2014 pushing entrepreneurship. And in 2013-14, certain large global investors started to come in because this is an ecosystem. Now the founder quality is improving. जो learning होना था ये ecosystem में, let's say globally or domestically, we think time between 2000 to 2015, that learning phase of the industry is over. Now more and more, there is new founders are more passionate. They don't want to exit fast. They want to start building companies which are, let's say, built to last. And there's no dearth of capital. So there is excessive capital, which is one of the drivers. Quality of talent is better. And there are broadly three themes that all these startups are getting set up on. So it is, the backbone is innovation, disruption, and they want to challenge, existing incumbents. Because incumbents में अगर कुछ R&D भी होता है, the pace of, let's say, R&D is slower. But somebody who doesn't have a baggage of history, but he thinks he has the talent, he's trying to solve a problem which has not been addressed. So capital is available, resources are available, sir.
Cool, thank you. Sir, if just to add in, Mobi was a mobile ad serving platform which was eventually taken over by Microsoft. Again, another question for the House, since sir said that there have been regulatory changes. So another question for the House, which is considered which is the largest startup based out of India? Largest one, yeah. Zomato? Paytm? Paytm का सर shares price बहुत गिरी है अभी. Byju's. What else? Ola. Sir, all these are very familiar names, right? So if you look up the internet, if you Google it, I think you will also find Flipkart at many places, which is one of the largest unicorns in the country, largest startup of the country. Sir, how do we see this regulatory framework, or how seriously should we look at this regulatory framework when we had, if my memory serves me correct, when we had the Flipkart Big Billion Day sale recently, which turned up mind-boggling numbers. But what was not disclosed, or what came later as a footnote, that Flipkart had to cancel 60% of their orders because they had overbooked. They have sort of inflated the books. So, sir, how seriously should we take this, the regulatory framework or the emerging drivers? Because there has been nothing, I don't think so, any action has been taken by the government that, they are blowing up the number, their book. Sir.
It is all about governance, sir. And governance, in case we look at Asian Paints, HDFC Bank, TCS, these companies, people say about महंगा in terms of PE multiples. But that is the price you get for governance and the transparency that you carry. And there are no shortcuts to create wealth. In case such practices are followed, the other competitors, maybe Amazon whoever executes it better will get it. People, let's say, remember food brands. People remember food brands for the consistency. So, once you are disappointed, let's say there's a food service provider which offers, let's say, 10 things on the menu.
But sir, if I may interject, sir, that is for the markets to decide. Ultimately, it's absolutely the private market forces. But then where's the felicitation by the government to ensure that we as investors are not siphoned off by our investment?
See, in this,
if I may use the term, sorry for using
overstatement, I think regulatory pressure in financial markets, or they'll find it difficult to raise funds. And we've seen, a couple of startups which went on to become unicorns, and because of governance issues, they've all fizzled out. So markets will punish those founders in terms of the next funding rounds that they want, or in case they are trying to shut those ventures and trying to make a comeback. So you can't delete your history. So in case you are in public domain, you got to conduct yourself with transparency and governance, whether a regulator is acting or not. Initially, so you have all government programs in terms of Startup India, or SIDBI runs a fund of fund, which funds the venture capital funds, or there's a fund from SBI, Resurgent India Fund. They fund the startups again. But only the founders which are transparent, have a track record, credibility, are the ones who are. Sir, you need not, in case you're driving around in the city and you are exceeding speed limits, you're doing it at your risk. A policeman is not going to run after you.
But sir, we are also fined for speeding, right? So my question is, where is the fine?
Will come, sir. We are not moral.
Eventually
police.
it will come.
It will eventually come. Sir.
It's a growing market. It's still at a very nascent stage.
Yeah.
Cool, sir. Sir, someone also mentioned Byju's as one of the largest.
Yeah.
Incidentally, Byju's is also the largest loss-making company, if I'm correct, in India.
Yeah.
Sir, how do we put our heads around? Sir, we as chartered accountants, we have been told to look at PAT, PBT, PAT, and EBITDA and all that stuff. But here we have the largest company, which is also the highest loss-making company in the country. How do we wrap our brains around this, sir?
Sir, it's a journey. And see, these are new age businesses. We also, as listed market investors, initially, when we were scanning these funds, couldn't fathom with the fact, how are these people investing into loss-making businesses? See, you need to have, and that is one reason we are not trying to be direct investors into this category. It is a journey of every company. You go acquire customers, you look at the long-term value, and these are markets where the winner takes all. In case you look at Zomato, initially when Zomato came in, people say, boss, हमारे घर में लड़का होता है, वो लेके आ जाता है, या भी phone करते हैं, हमें order हो जाता है. But now Zomato has become a way of ordering, and it is one of the largest aggregators, or let's say food delivery, and the second player in the business, or third or fourth होता ही नहीं है in businesses में. So the journey is, let's acquire customers, let people form habit, and we'll make money eventually. And these are companies which go from losses to amazing number of profits in no time. And and commentary is changing. Earlier, a year or two back, when there was a lot of funding available, people were talking about CAC, customer acquisition cost, or acquiring more and more customers. Now the commentary is shifting to EBITDA positive. And I'm sure in next 3 or 4 times, the commentary will shift to the way listed companies are evaluated. It will come down to
Correct,
sir.
correct, sir.
It's a journey, sir.
Sir, I am also a digital marketer. So what is now happening right now is, for these companies, it's performance maximization. So making maximum, basically playing around the concept of lifetime value of a customer, extracting maximum value from your existing customer pool rather than acquiring new ones. So you are correct head on there. Sir, last question. Sir, again, I'm giving you or asking you tough questions. I hope you don't mind me that. So last question, sir, you are also involved in evaluating proposals and projections for startups on behalf of the venture capitals. Sir, if you can share some things, like what are the things that you look at, and maybe some of the exciting or disappointing facts and figures that you have come across, so that it is a learning for us, sir, because you realize that most of these reports are made by people like us. So if you can help us understand your point of view, the evaluator's point of view.
See, I'll just give you a broader sense. Let reports be made by anybody, the founder or people from our fraternity. Report will hold value in case somebody can execute it, right? And funding will follow ideas. They say in case the bride is beautiful, suitors will come, right? The same holds true for these startup ventures. Make ideas, and any venture capital fund or an angel, they evaluate the deal filtration is very strong, sir. They look at about 3,000-4,000 deals in a year. So 200 से 250 pitches sunte हैं, and they've done this for a while. And these guys come with an operating background. They come with an investing background. तो इनको रुपया का समझ है, sir, किसको देना है नहीं देना. And secondly, sir, no matter आप क्या parameters, क्या checklist follow करते हो, there is something called as gut. So certain investment decisions are made on gut.
So you were sharing a very interesting story about fans, a startup in fans. And you also mentioned that the cyclical factors in the Excel. So if you can just share that.
It's a good example. There are 2 IITians who've set up a company, fan manufacturing company called Atomberg. And last year they did a turnover of about 350 crores. So we as traditional investors say, बॉस अगर कोई पंखा बना रहा है ये बिजनेस में ऑलरेडी 5-6 बहुत बड़े प्लेयर्स हैं तो आप क्या कर पाओगे मतलब व्हाट इज इट दैट यू आर ब्रिंगिंग टू द टेबल तो कोई भी स्टार्टअप में पैशन होता है उसको लगता है दिस हैज नेवर बीन डन बिफोर माय आइडिया इज स्केलेबल आई कैन लिस्ट माय कंपनी आई एम बिल्डिंग अ कंपनी दैट इज बिल्ट टू लास्ट तो उन्होंने 2 चीज़ें की सर जस्ट टू गेट इन्वेस्टर्स इन दे वेंट टू मोरबी मोरबी इज अ टाइल्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडिया में अगर टाइल्स आती हैं वो मोरबी में मैन्युफैक्चर होती है and that market is like that state is tough to crack when you're doing business decisions it's done on merit agar aapke idea mein dam hai you will get success and then what they did was in the tiles market they deployed 50 fans and their whole thesis is in case you are using our fan you will save on electricity and there was a use case and then after 50 fan which they gave to the association free the entire industry is using atom bulb there so they had a use case in place then they went to Delhi electricity board they said aap kya kariye hamare fans ko promote kariye for a period of 2 months on electricity bills और फैन की जो कॉस्ट है केपेक्स कॉस्ट है वो बिल में एडजस्ट कर देना और जो हमारा फैन खरीद रहा है आफ्टर द केपेक्स इज रिकवर्ड हिज लाइफ टाइम दैट केपेक्स उसका बिजली के बिल से ही फ्री हो जाएगा जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बचाएगा फैन में We met these guys last year 350 crore का turnover किया इस साल they are saying 750 crores हो जाएगा तो we think a lot of these businesses are on Excel कि उसमें formula लगा होता है they'll keep growing with 20% 30% so and so forth and founders are passionate they say we'll disrupt it we'll achieve it most of the listed players अगर आप research report पढ़ते हैं तो उसमें seasonality होती है अगर बारिश पड़ा है ज़्यादा या ठंडी ज़्यादा पड़ी है सर्दी तो फ़ैन की सेल्स कम होगी ये कहते हैं नहीं हमें कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा वील कंटिन्यू टू डिस्टर्ब बिकॉज वी हैव अ डिफरेंट मॉडल ऑफ एग्जीक्यूशन वी आर सेलिंग ऑनलाइन तो द अदर्स आर नॉट ऑनलाइन ऑन दैट स्केल वी आर सेलिंग डिजिटली सेकेंडली वी आर टाइंग अप विद आर्किटेक्ट्स हमें अपना टारगेटेड मार्केट इज क्लियर एंड दिस इज ऑल वी डू तो द अदर प्लेयर्स हु आर देयर इन द बिजनेस हु मैन्युफैक्चर फैंस इट इज़ वन लाइन ऑफ द बिजनेस फॉर देम but somebody who is like laser focused वो कहता है नहीं and see होगा क्या this company might not go for listing a bigger player in the business might buy them out so they would say okay चलो अब 1000 crore पहुंच गए हो 1500 crore पहुंच गए हो it's enough valuation बोलो we'll kind of buy you out so there are various kinds of interesting businesses the speed of innovation the speed of talent availability has never been better before this country and it's all young India which is doing it and you have a mixed set of founders both first time founders and you have a set of founders which are repeat founders you have set of founders who have see pehle there was a job insecurity people used to take up a job and retire now the trend is we are seeing a lot of trend where people are quitting jobs and would want to experiment doing a startup sir.
Wonderful. So I think this is a classic example of how startups can disrupt existing setups or structures of the industry. Thank you, sir. Wonderful deliberation. Okay, sir, since our past president, sir, he deserves one more chance.
Probably if you can answer this question.
Dear past president, he deserves one more.
I'll try, sir.
The Baiju story, there's a lot of media reports that the advance receipt of tuition fees from the students they used to account for in the same year. What exactly is that one? Well, that is the reason for the fall. I mean, say I am paying for 3 years and then they are accounting in 1 year itself. The statement of the this chairman came that now they are going through the accounting procedure. What is the check? I mean, this is such a big company. I think 60 billion, probably what I feel that one of the biggest unicorns of India. And this is what is happening. I mean, before the startups goes up, is it not that time to have the regulatory check? What was going on? If you can answer this question, see, this question is I should not ask from the media, but
I'll take it separately. I'll take it one-on-one.
Yes.
I'll take it one-on-one.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. May I request the house to please put together your hands and thanks, sir, for the wonderful deliberation. Sir, what a kickstart we have had in the morning. So who said Calcutta was a sleepy town? We have, I think, over 120 people amongst us, and I'm sure all of us have thoroughly enjoyed the session. Thank you very much, sir. May I request the Secretary, CA Niraj Agrawal, to please offer a formal vote of thanks to sir on behalf of the association. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul, and very good morning to all of you. Sir made the comment, if the bride is beautiful, the suitors will come. And sir, you have mentioned about the private equity, kya dekh rahe hain in these startups, the easy availability of risky capital now compared to when it was in 2011. The government support, the form in which it has come, what sort of facilities are available for the startups, the Indian PE, the VC space in the country, what it is like and how is it is transforming the entire startup space, why capital is required from stage 1A to 1D, and again the RegTech, a new word, which I have learned today, and I'll definitely look into this, and I'm sure a lot of chartered accountants like us would be interested in this field of RegTech, wherein we are experts in our domain knowledge and what we can do about that in the startup aspects. So sir, thanks a lot for taking time out, coming all the way from Mumbai, and sharing with us your wonderful knowledge on these wonderful space of startups. I know 40-50 minutes is not a sufficient time to know or grasp the entire aspects about these aspects of startup, and we'll definitely look forward to more such interactions with you. A deep sense of gratitude from the association, and I thank you all. Thank you for making this possible for us. May I request the House to give a warm applause to our Chief Speaker, Mr. Dilraj Vilkhu, and may I request our past President, CA Pradeep Jainji, to please come forward and offer a memento as a token of appreciation. Thank you, Pradeep ji. And with this, we come to a close to this particular part of today's session on startup. Our next session, I'll request CA Amit Agrawal to come forward and take the next session forward. Thank you.